You're on.
All right, it's Monday, 10th of July. Selectmen's meeting town of Tuftonboro. Call the meeting to order, and I'd like everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public input. Looks like we have none. Let's move right into our appointments. First up is our Highway Superintendent, Jim Beam. Lay it on us, Jim. Thank you.
Alright, so since last time I was here, we're still continuing with the storm damage repair, and with continuous rainstorms, the general cleanups have been pretty steady. It's just been non-stop every week. Road grading is about halfway completed due to all the rain. Also, the road grading is costing more this year due to the amount of gravel needed from the storms. We lost just so much gravel. It's at least double, if not triple, than what it normally is every year for the amount of gravel we're using. And some of the prep work for the paving has been done, but there's still more that needs to be done in between rainstorms. And the new town truck was scheduled for delivery this week, but it was delayed as of today due to the severe storm damage over in that area. So it's scheduled for the middle of next week at this point. And that's all I have.
So do you have your paving figured out?
We're not ready for it yet. So, I mean, I think I know who I'd like to use, and we're just looking to figure out their schedule versus who's got the best schedule for us at this point. They're both so close in money. I think it's within like $6,000 or something, which is extremely close when you're talking that kind of a budget.
How many companies did you talk to this year?
I've only got bids back from 2.
But we did advertise it.
I talked to, I came out and called the ones that I thought were qualified for it.
You direct solicited.
Correct, yeah. Because you gotta pretty much deal with somebody that owns their own paving plants,
Yeah.
as opposed to somebody who's gonna go to their plant.
And you only had 2 responses.
2 bids back, yep. There was interest, yep, but 2 bids back. Yep.
Chip's over there grinding numbers.
So you're we're tracking for a $48,000 deficit this year.
But that storm damage didn't help us at
Are
all.
we getting any help on that?
We don't know yet. That's not something
No.
that'll probably happen this year. You know, I don't think we're gonna see money this year. If we do, it'll be very late in the year, and it goes in the general fund anyways. It's not into my account.
Because your winter maintenance, you don't have a lot left. You only have $18,000.
Yep.
And not a lot left in summer. So
It's going fast.
yeah, and you've used up your maintenance. Do you expect any maintenance projects coming forward?
When you say I'm not sure what you mean by maintenance.
Equipment.
Equipment
Oh,
maintenance.
equipment maintenance?
Yeah.
Okay. And if we get the new truck next week, we should be in good shape.
So now that's next week, not this week, right?
Yeah, but this is the 3rd time I've heard it, but
And you've spent your striping budget, that's done.
yeah.
So whatever we paid, we're gonna wait and stripe next year.
Those aren't any roads that we actually stripe, so.
Yeah.
We're only striping through roads, right?
Correct. 3 major roads.
Right.
Well, I guess 4, because we're Durgan, yeah,
But that's a through road.
correct.
It goes somewhere.
Yep. We've talked about Tufton Road Neck, but we haven't finalized on doing that.
So when do you expect you'll do the paving?
I gotta talk to him, because originally we were hoping for June.
Right,
We missed that window.
it's now July.
Yep, and I'm hoping for August at this point. We'll be ready by August. Yep.
And we're still planning on doing the neck,
Yes,
or part of it,
half.
half of it,
Yeah.
right? And you're all prepped for that?
No, that's what we still need to finish up. We got a little more work to do on Shirley Way, and a little bit of work to do on the neck, then we'd be ready. Yeah, actually, there's still a little bit of work I wanna do on Federal Corners too. I wanna widen a couple areas out before we put the top coat on, so. I have a little work on each road still.
Wasn't there a question last week about some tree work on Federal Corner that you were asking about? Actually, Chris Sawyer brought in a picture of a tree.
With
up.
the ribbon on it.
That's the one, yes.
There's tree work everywhere. I mean,
Yes, but
Yeah.
this one was brought to us by a citizen. With
I know which one it
concerns.
is. I see it in my,
Yep.
good, we gotta cut that soon.
Any plans? Is it on the radar?
Oh yeah, definitely on the radar, yep.
I can see it.
And that's part of the things that I want done before we pave that road.
Oh, even better. Yep, good to know. Yes. Got any more budget concerns to speak with him about?
No, I was just getting about the tree work, I didn't look at that number.
Okay.
But we still have money left in that.
Yeah. You haven't spent any?
He's done the work, he hasn't billed us yet.
There's a couple trees on Ledge Hill Road too, Rick, just up from me on the opposite side of the road. So when you're coming down Ledge Hill Road,
The sign,
yeah,
yep, that's on the list too.
okay.
All those, all the ash that were planted in the old Dow farm there, Sharpless's place, they're all dead.
I know, but
And does he take them out?
that's more, I think that's on his property.
Yeah.
We're 25 feet from the center line. That's more than 25 feet, so.
Well, you might want to put him on notice that he needs to take those out before they fall into your right of way. Because then you gotta clean it up.
True.
And then, you know, they're not gonna come back.
No, no.
All right then. Our next appointment is Matt Young and road agent as well. Matt, come on up. And Mitchell, just remind everybody that Matt had provided us with an engineered plan for the crosswalk down at the Pier 19 area. And we did put that out for proposals and got nothing back. Crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently nobody has any interest in it. Well, what would you like to tell us?
Oh, well, you should have a proposal in from George T. Felice, who picked up the packet from Horizons Engineering a week or two ago. He's just waiting for the price from the signal company, which apparently is right out of Moltenboro,
Oh,
to do that. But his recommendation was if you have work like crosswalks or things like that in the future, you would put it on the bid circular, which is a national bid registry for things like that, where companies who do crosswalks can go, or sewer lines or things like that can go, and they can check each state, region, and industry.
okay, that's good to know.
So,
All right, well, that's promising.
yep, so he was just waiting for that before he got you a number. But George is a resident out on Cow Island, and has a company that puts in crosswalks and stuff like that all the time. So
Great.
I imagine his number will probably be fairly attractive, because he would like to be here and not in
Other places.
other places, and he could stay on his island and do it. So, you know, they do that sort of thing quite regularly. But
All right,
he said the plans look good, pretty straightforward.
I would think. All right, is that what you have to say to us?
Oh, that was it. I was also asked while I was coming, I wouldn't have made a special trip down, but I was here, so I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the construction debris situation up at the
Yes.
transfer station. So, I mean, just from my perspective, with what we do at the marina, and for myself, it's a pretty major inconvenience to not accept construction debris up there from the marina, or even myself. I don't particularly have a excess of time to be running other places, and I don't really want to put a 30-yard dumpster down at the marina because it would just take probably a whole summer to fill up, and it would just become a mess, not to mention everybody would be throwing stuff in it. So just from my perspective, it's a rather large inconvenience for the businesses in town. From the town's perspective, for what it's worth, I think it could have some very large problems, because there's so many contractors in town who are 1- and 2-man operations, and they don't really have a choice of what to do. They're not gonna drive somewhere else to get rid of it, so what we're gonna have all over town is 30-yard dumpsters in everybody's yard. Everybody who's a contractor or a plumber or electrician or anything like that, so that when they get home, they can unload their truck and dump it into the dumpster. And then when that dumpster's full, they're gonna have it hauled away and have another one brought in. And it's just aesthetically gonna be unattractive all over town, having 30-yard dumpsters. And those will be the responsible contractors. So somebody who may not be irresponsible is gonna go down Phineas Graves Road, Sandy Knoll Road, anywhere they can back up a dump truck or a dump trailer or whatnot, and they're gonna hit dump, or they're gonna burn it in their yard, which is gonna create more problems. So.
Well, we're certainly aware of your concerns and everyone else's.
Oh, but I did have a suggestion. I mean,
Yep.
I don't particularly mind, paying more, so I understand there's a deficit.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it seems to me, just from a business perspective, it's pretty easy to say, well, we're short by $25,000. It was $100,000, whatever the number is, to haul the dirt off, and just increase the rate per yard by the right percentage, and maybe add a little on for safety's sake. And
Well, you're not the only one that has suggested that. And our transfer station superintendent is coming in later, and this subject will be discussed again and again. And I don't know if we'll have a total working solution today, but I certainly would like to get one going that everybody can at least live with, whether it's perfect or not, until the possibility that we might get scales arises. There's a guy coming tomorrow that I'm going to meet with, as well as Chris Rule, to talk about scales. Obviously, we can't do that until town meeting, but we want to come up with a solution that's going to work for everybody until town meeting at least.
Well, I think the problem with the scales is that the upfront cost is pretty substantial.
Absolutely.
And it's also gonna be fairly slow to process at the transfer station.
Right.
So sometimes trying to find a perfect solution is impossible. So, I mean, if you can just get it pretty close as far as the costing on it, and maybe you have to come up with, it's this price per cubic yard for wood debris, and it's this price for masonry debris and shingles and
Sure.
stuff like that, because obviously you have the dumpster charge and the over tonnage charge.
Right.
And, come up with it that way, but this would hardly seem to be an insurmountable obstacle to.
It isn't, and we're certainly not stuck where we're at. We're moving forward one way or another to get this at least resolved to where we can not lose any more money, I would say, at this point in time.
We had to stop the bleeding.
Right, and,
Yeah, well, I get that, but I mean.
and a pickup load is still acceptable.
Yeah, well,
I know that's
it's
awkward at times.
It's awkward, it's more difficult. I think they actually were prohibited from bringing a commercial vehicle up right now too. I think that's what the thing that went around said, the paper copy they had up at the dump. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
Well, we'll be discussing it
But
a little later. Yep.
I mean, this, from the outside, we have to deal with problems like this all the time, and
Sure.
I'm sure you guys have to deal with problems like this all the time. It seems solvable, so.
I agree. My fellow selectmen may or may not, but I think we can come up with a solution that's gonna at least get us through the year. And we shouldn't stop once we think we have a solution. We should always be looking ahead, and it's a tough thing to do. There's a lot on our plates, but we're gonna do it.
But I mean, I applaud you guys for trying to be responsible with the tax dollars. You know, this
Sure.
seems to be pretty important, you know,
All right.
for the town.
Well, I applaud your calm approach.
There's no need.
After our last meeting, I think you did well, Matt. Thank you so much.
You guys all set with me?
Yes,
All right.
Thank you.
pleased to hear.
Appreciate your input.
Definitely. Jim, stay dry if you can.
Be sure to check with Canon when that bid comes in, because you need to figure out your costs going forward, if there are any, to maintain it.
As far as to maintain the crosswalk.
Right.
Right.
Pretty sure it's gonna have to get repainted
State
periodically.
isn't gonna do it.
If there's a light, it's gonna have to be maintained, or whatever that involves.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
I think at the very least, you're gonna be painting the lines annually.
I do too.
Yeah, that would be,
Yep. Okay,
Maybe change a light bulb once in a while, but
I'm not even sure how you go about that one.
depending on where it is and how, I mean, I don't know either. We'll find out.
Okay.
All right,
thank you.
we're moving right along with our schedule. We could actually have Dan Salembo from Parks and Rec come up, and we'll get through that. I say get through that, but we'll get his report done.
And Chris is not coming in. He called and said he couldn't make it.
Oh, delightful.
Sorry.
Well, here we go again.
We have a commission meeting tomorrow, 5. You gonna make that?
I'm gonna give it my best.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
The last meeting I had COVID.
Yeah, I know that. You doing all right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Those weddings get you. All the time. Pause in the Park, we did have a cancellation on the 24th of June, and moved it to Sunday, which did hurt. We lost 3 vendors, we lost 1 food truck, and we lost the Disc Dogs exhibition, so we were hoping for a real big, you know, the first year, last year we had 300, this year we had a little over 100. We still were able to give $1,200 to the Lakes Region Humane Society, and we profited the town of Tufton about $670. So
Nice.
not a bad event. I mean, it was a crazy day. We had Jerry's memorial that same day and a birthday party the same day, so kind of running back and forth. But I'm sure the memorial went good. They had like well over 50 people in the birthday, but it was a busy day down there also. So we're meeting Thursday for a final meeting with the Humane Society and Rebecca. And my goal is to move it to the fall. We've had 2 June days that have been hot. So I think you go a nice fall, have a nice cool day, it'll be better. But that's something that I think is gonna build. Ballroom on the Beach starts tomorrow with Dave and Aaron. So if you guys are free with your lady friends, certainly go down to the pavilion, 7 to 8:30.
I'm not sure how my wife would applaud me taking my lady friend down there, Dennis.
Well, yeah, I just, you know, not knowing your background, I just those kind of the right things. Aaron's all jacked up. They're actually gonna put these lights, these icicle lights all
Men have a seat.
around the pavilion, so I think we're gonna have a good crowd for that. The Cornhole League, Wednesday night is our potluck. Everyone brings food, and it's interdivision matchups where the good team plays the bad team. And then next week, the following week is our last week with playoffs and championship game. So that'll be done a week from Wednesday, hopefully with the rain. I mean, we've had crazy weather. Yoga is going real good. She started out slow. She's up to 13 people now on Friday mornings. You know, the concert was good, the opening night, but again, busy night there. We had sailing going on, we had outrigger canoe going on, and we had the concert going on. So Sky Road, Brian Hastings is got his group there this Thursday. The bad news is I saw Brian today, he was coming in, and he's having a hip replaced, both hips replaced, so it might be tough to have his band there on the town picnic, so I think I gotta look elsewhere on that. Swim lessons, we've lucked out. We've got a real good girl. I was a little leery about, hiring a girl just graduated from Kingswood. She's going to Western Carolina University next year. Ella Meserve, her dad's the shop teacher up at Kingswood, and her mom is the principal up at Conway Elementary. But after the first day, we canceled today because of the rain, but after the first day, a parent from the beach comes up to me and says, I gotta tell you, that girl is so patient. She says some of these 2.5, 3-year-olds won't even go in the water, and after 10 or 15 minutes, she's got them in there laughing, playing, and doing stuff. So she'd come up after and say, boy, they had no, they just, dealing with that age group is tough, We got 2 classes that are 2.5, 3, 7 classes, 2.5 and 3. But we've only got 13 kids. Last year we had a total of 50 for the whole summer. It'll probably be lower this year, but I think we're lucky to have Ella. She's doing a good job. She's very responsible. Old home days is something we really got to work on, and that's going to be one of our concerns tomorrow night at the meeting. I'm sure we got the regular stuff going on, but the bad news is I think I'm moving the party back to the beach. Last year I paid a second band at the fire station there to play, and electricity, they played 20 minutes, it just kept conking out, so I'm just not gonna deal with the electric issues. We got no problem down the beach, so. Other towns at Old Home Days invite non-residents, and was the issue with some of the people. But to me, it's just a better atmosphere, electricity is better, and we're gonna go with it down there, so. We got a meeting with the land bank next Monday at 4 o'clock, hopefully to secure a donation for the bike trail. We do have upcoming meetings with both the capital improvement and the planning board, joint meetings with the Parks and Rec Commission, so that's coming up probably in the fall. Yard sale is October 7th. Punt, pass, and kick is October 28th. Got a call today from the Merrimack Recreation. They've got issues with their water. They want to know if they can bring 50 kids tomorrow to our beach, and I said yeah. So that's it. Summer's off.
Well,
In response to that letter I sent you in the email last week,
On the
tractor,
yeah, we do have a response. Yeah. First of all, it wasn't a donation. It was a paid thing. So
we were just curious.
Chip had questioned me about donations have to be approved by you guys, and it wasn't a donation. Second of all, Evan Lewis, who's the head of the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, has given us the okay to groom the beach, as long as the tractor doesn't leak oil or anything else.
Do you have that in writing?
He's back the 10th, which is that tomorrow?
it's today.
Today, he's back today. I had sent him an email saying, I got
You need
a
to
phone
get-
message about it, and I need it in writing, so.
You need to get out of jail free card
That's
for
what I
that.
need.
for that.
But, I mean, maybe you'll believe me, and I'll let you hear the email. That-
No, I believe you, but
Yeah. But
you
I
need to
will-
get out of jail free
I will
card.
get it, yeah. And again, all we're trying to do is improve the beach.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know
I
what I'm
couldn't-
saying?
couldn't
It's gonna
agree
make
with
the
you more.
beach better. If we groom it, it's gonna look like Hampton Beach, so,
Mhm.
anyway, that's all I have.
Okay.
All right, we've been CC'd on an email from the police chief to you.
Yeah,
Talks about a ladder that was installed up at Melbourne Wharf.
yeah, I haven't been down there. I'm going down tomorrow and
Yeah,
actually
look at
screw
that.
the,
And a swim raft tied up to the shore down at the
Yeah.
beach that nobody knows who that belongs to yet?
I do, yeah.
You do?
No,
Okay.
I do. What happened, the history on that is, it washed away and it landed on Cow Island. And I'm sure it washed away probably in the fall, and with the ice and everything else. So Bubba Bali was out there, and it was there for a month. He contacted the Marine Patrol and said, what's the deal? And they said, well, if no one claims it, take it. So we brought it there. It's been identified on Facebook. I contacted the lady on Facebook. She lives in Wolfboro. Her name is on it. I said, please come and get it. and it's still been there another 3 weeks. So it's a beautiful raft. I mean, the seats pop up.
The marine salvage laws that cover that sort of thing.
So that's
Yeah,
what
maybe, but that's not my field of expertise.
I mean, Bubba wanted to put it out on Cow Island. I said, let's just wait and see what happens. But it's not our raft. I don't know if they're coming to get it. So that's where it stands. Yeah. Beautiful.
If in a couple of weeks it hasn't happened, get back to us and maybe we can throw a little weight around, see if we
Yeah.
can get it taken care of, or get it donated to the town, something, but
Yeah.
just having it sit there is not doing anybody any
No, I
good.
know. I know it.
So, I have a note here from the Friends of Jerry Conroy.
Yep.
This is addressed to you and the Board of Selectmen. I can read this quickly. The family and friends of Jerry Conroy extend our heartfelt thanks for your help in making Jerry's first wish come true. As we move forward to fulfill 2 more wishes, please know how grateful we are for your permission and Dennis's amazing help. Pat Lovering for the Friends of Jerry's wishes. So it's really nice.
Well, the funny thing is too, with the Pause in the Park being canceled, some of the tables and some of the pop-ups we had to use for the pause. So I had this old camping one. I'm down there trying to set it up, and if you ever set up these things where all the pipes go in together, and so I call my wife, she comes over, we're doing it. So a lady on the beach comes walking over, she goes, "You need help?" I says, "I don't know, I think it's this." So we're moving, as I'm moving it, the thing breaks. So I said, "Oh boy." The lady said, "I'll be right back." She went to her house, bought a pop-up, very nice of her, and bought me a nice ice water, so it was really hot that day. So she was nice. She's got a little boy, and I said, "Is he signed up for swim lessons yet?" She goes, "No, I want." I says, "It's on me." So that was it. But it was nice that she'd be able to sell. We wouldn't have had a pop-up.
Very nice.
But yeah, it was nice. It was funny because I'm at the Pause in the Park, and I guess one of the guys that sings or something, he had set up almost like a podium in the pavilion with a microphone. So I get an email while I'm at the Pause in the Park, and there's the pavilion ours. And I think it's the birthday group. I says, "Yeah, it's your birthday, no problem, I'll be down." So I get down there, he says, "We're gonna use the pavilion." I says, "You can't use the pavilion. When we had the meeting,"
Right.
I said, "No one ever said you needed a pavilion. I already booked a birthday." We had another birthday party this past week, this past Saturday down there. So I don't know if he was upset or not, but I had a microphone for him, and he didn't like that microphone, so what are you gonna do?
You're gonna carry on.
Carry on.
All right. Anything else for Dennis? Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thanks, guys.
Best of
Yeah.
luck.
Thank you.
So we're running a bit ahead of schedule here. I noticed we had a visitor show up, a little
Yeah.
late for public input,
Yeah,
but I will bend the rules for Ms. Juanita Hill.
I
Would you like to
appreciate
come
that.
up and have a seat and
sure, thanks.
express your
Yeah.
concerns or whatever it may be for us, Juanita?
Well, I just wanted to let the selectmen know that on August 5th, the Melbourne Village Marina is planning a wakeboard competition. Does anyone know about that?
No.
Up to 50 wake boats at 11 a.m. on that day.
Okay.
I just heard about it. I'm here because my mom has a small waterfront property, and I'm concerned that 50, I've seen one, 50 boats is going to do a lot of property damage. And it seems to me that Melbourne Marina ought to have gotten permission for this from someone. I don't know who, but
Well, unfortunately, the state controls the water, not the town.
Yeah.
yeah, but who controls the property on the lake?
The homeowner.
What's that?
The homeowner.
The home water?
The homeowner controls
homeowner?
the property on the lake.
Okay, so the homeowner is saying we don't like this
Okay.
idea because I'm concerned it's going to be property damage.
I can
So-
understand that, but
Yeah.
But I think your appeal is with the state, not with us.
yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
But I wish I had better news,
All right.
truly.
Because it's a water activity.
Yeah. So the state, like what? Is there a division of state? It must be like a
Could-
department that.
Could start with Marine Patrol.
Okay.
And if it's not in their jurisdiction or their purview, they'll tell you where to go.
Yeah. They probably will tell me where to go.
No, I don't think so.
I'm afraid it's called Melbourne Marina,
No,
so
no,
they'll tell me
there's a-
where to go.
They'll put you in touch with the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a speed limit on the lake,
There is.
so they should know. And I mean, although we maybe done events once or twice that I've been here,
Yeah.
where we've required somebody to get an event permit, but it wasn't lake oriented, it was,
You're right, it's on land.
Yeah.
And the lake's high, I know, and that doesn't help matters either.
yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe by August 5th there won't be, but still, it's, I mean, 50, 2, 5, 10 boats are gonna do damage, never mind 50.
Sure.
Well, it's not just the 50 boats, it's the 200 spectators that are also on boats. I mean, it's gonna be pretty crowded if they're having a
Yeah, it's gonna be
competition.
pretty crazy,
Yeah.
so, I don't know, okay, so just let
So
you know.
gather your fellow
That's-
lakefront
It's gonna be an
property people.
annual event, they say,
Yeah,
so,
so you may wanna get other people involved and
yeah,
call the state as well.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Have a great
Thanks for bending the rules.
Nothing to it, we're pretty flexible.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we are ahead of schedule. I don't have an official agenda, I don't know which order to do these in. I'm gonna do signature file. We have one piece of paper in the signature file, and it's to tell the state that we will not be using form PA 28 inventory of taxable property for the 2024. Rod Wood has acknowledged that. It requires 3 signatures. I'll let you fellows have a look at it.
I've seen it.
I'll make a motion that we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will sign. Get that out of the way.
7:10. Another busy week.
In our action items, I've already mentioned the email from Chief Shiguri, and Dennis is well aware of what's going on with that. But we do have a resume for a part-time secretary position. I've seen it. The resume is here. It doesn't really require any action that I can see other than a date of hire. And I believe the young lady wants to attend the meeting before she actually
Yeah, I think
decides whether she wants to take the position.
my
or not.
understanding is she's coming tonight to the, if there's a conservation commission.
But it isn't tonight. It's the third Monday of the month.
Oh,
Right.
It's next.
17th. That's what I told her.
Yeah, okay, so she knows.
Yeah.
So much for action items at that point. Correspondence. We are notified that and invited to the celebration of Steve Wingate's lifetime record of service to the town of Tufton Borough, the Lakes region, and the state of New Hampshire, where he's been a dedicated citizen leader in the promotion, protection, and conservation of our natural resources, in particular our beautiful lakes. That's on Saturday, July 15th. If you'd like to attend, there's more detail here. We have a letter from the town clerk. This is from concerning Mr. Klotz and his problems with the USPS, which we've talked about previously. And it says here that the tax collector was going to speak to Mr. Klotz about this. He didn't know if his deed needed to be amended. Certainly the things that our tax collector knows about. So for the moment, I'd say we'll let the tax collector deal with that unless we have any objections.
No.
All right. We have a letter from DES. This is concerning Union Wharf and our rebuild. And our permit wouldn't be issued until we have a deed in right,
Grant.
a grant in right, whether according to this. We wait, I
Right.
presume. Alba Architects has sent us an update with a whole bunch of pictures explaining one little item or another to do with the police station. And while we're on that subject, we do have a letter from Phil Bennett. It came through with a couple of other little items and a picture of for example, like a handicap door. What it does say is that the bid opening will be on July 17th at 9 a.m. Bob cannot be here at 9 a.m. on July 17th. And it's open to the public and the bidders. I think we should get the word out. We should do that at 4:30. I don't like the idea that we open the bids without Bob.
Either one's fine with me, I'll come at 4:30.
So can we get a hold of Phil and reschedule that opening of the bids for 4:30 on the 17th? And because we have so many Mondays if we did nothing more than open the bids on the 17th. If there was no real emergencies, that
And
would,
approve the minutes for the last 3 meetings.
yes. We could have a very short meeting. All right, so we're all in agreement to move that meeting to 4:30. We'll open the bids. It says the responses will be posted that day without the names of the bidders, and that's fine, until the bids are reviewed and confirmed for completeness and accuracy. So that means also has to go to USDA before we can actually award a contract, if I'm not mistaken. That was fairly simple. Then we have an email from the transfer station. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., Mr. Pete Diotis, if I pronounce his name right, plans to come to the site and also review the possibility of installing scales at some point in time. I'll be there at that appointment, if it's all right with the other two. I know Bob can't make it. You're welcome to come if you want, Chip, obviously.
Well, it's easy
I think
if
one
I
of us.
don't, then we don't have to post it.
I don't actually think we do, since we're not gonna make any decisions or anything.
Hard to prove. I
Hard to
think
prove either way, but I'm more than happy to
I
do it.
think you'll be fine.
Good, I'll take care of that for you. As far as correspondence goes, that's pretty much the end of it. We might as well get right into some selectmen updates, because we don't have another appointment until 5:30. And that would be Mike Carlton, who's gonna come in and talk to us about the
Oh, the property.
property that he'd like to sell to the town.
Hmm.
So, if we get into selectmen's updates, who'd like to go first?
Yeah, I can go first because I really don't have anything to report. It was a pretty uneventful week last week since our last selectmen's meeting.
Okay,
Aside from your responses to the transfer station, which I thought you did an exemplary job of answering emails.
Thank you.
I spent, along with Bob, there wasn't a lot going on. I did do some more work on trying to set up appointments with the people at the co-op, and there's a lot of vacations going on right now.
sure, sometime.
Spoke with Mr. Rorson from the Budget Committee
Mhm.
about the upcoming CIP budget
Joint meeting.
joint meeting.
I believe that was scheduled for Wednesday, the 26th,
Yeah.
at the library at 6:30.
Right.
This month,
I'm,
make sure I have that
And-
calendar.
I brought one candidate in for the secretarial position. There's another one I'm working on just in case, because we just need some help in here.
sure,
Um,
good idea. We have a line item for it,
Yeah,
and we're in good shape with that, so. All right, well, my biggest headache has been the transfer station, as we're all aware. And I have assured people that this is not falling by the wayside. The current restrictions are not permanent, and I think we should be doing some discussing and trying to come up with a direction to move in. While we have some time here, we might as well talk about it.
Well, as we've heard from one source today and other sources, it seems like people are willing to pay for the convenience
Yes.
of us accepting their commercial haulage.
It does seem that way. And the question is, how much do we expect them to pay? I could see doubling the fees, the current fees as the way they were. But then we get into another issue that's been mentioned to me, and that's determining, does this construction debris actually come from Tuftonboro?
right.
And a transfer station sticker on a truck does not mean that that came from Tuftonboro, as we know.
Right.
To verify that is going to be the kind of work that has to be done by our people at the transfer station. Now, I was expecting the superintendent to be here, and I do have a suggestion for him, and this is part of it. If C&D comes in, someone's going to look at it and determine how much money needs to be paid. At that point in time, they could verify where it came from by several different methods. One could be a building permit, for example, if it was a brand new building or an addition. One might be from a slip from the homeowner saying name and address, which can be easily verified on the computer at the transfer station. if we have an outside contractor that's going to be working in Tuftonboro, he should obviously bring Tuftonboro CD to Tuftonboro, but there are a number of ways to do that. If it's going to be a long project, as we have talked about in the past with our tax collector, they could come to the town office and get an authorization for a period of time, which they could then show to the transfer station people. Other methods would be to carry these little notebooks around, which you can get for pennies at Ocean State job lots as well. Write down the name, the address, what it might be, just to keep track of it, a number plate even, if it didn't have a sticker on it. And it shouldn't be that difficult. But one thing I have heard from several people was, and not necessarily always for C&D, it's not my job, from some of those transfer station people. We have 4 people up there, a superintendent and 3 full-time employees that have decades of transfer station experience. Whatever it may be, and this is my opinion only, is their job. They're all capable of doing virtually anything up there. I would prefer not to hear that again in the future. But we have to decide really soon how we're going to get through at least till the end of the year and make this work without going.
Even beyond that, because I don't think you're gonna avoid, even, let's assume that we got a scale approved at the town meeting.
Oh, it would be June.
We'll go until summer.
Maybe June, maybe
Yep.
probably July or August. And even then, okay, now I'm a contractor, I got a dump sticker on my pickup truck and I got a 6-wheel trailer or whatever they got, 4-wheel trailers, full of C&D. I wanna dump it. I'll go over the scale, I'll pay the scale rate, doesn't matter. So you have not avoided the contractors lives here and works somewhere else.
Right.
So you're bringing that waste.
Still has to be
Yeah.
checked by someone to say that it's from Tuftonboro.
So I think, I mean, I've been thinking about it a bit, and I think if we're gonna go in that direction, or even if we're estimating weight, I really think we have to change the way we issue stickers.
Mhm.
Because that domestic sticker that person has on his pickup truck is no different than the one I have on my pickup truck.
No.
And I take my trash in once every
Of course
2
you do.
weeks. So maybe we need to think about commercial stickers. In other words, if you're gonna come in with commercial C&D, it's gonna cost you a commercial sticker, and then we gotta work on the tonnage rate, because it's not rocket science to figure out how many C&D containers have left and how much money it's cost us to get rid of it.
No, our man does that, our superintendent gives us a report on that. And so that isn't rocket science.
Yeah, but he hasn't taken the second step, which is dividing the 2 numbers within themselves.
Right.
So that you know what a container costs you to get rid of. So if a guy takes one of those trailers and dumps it in, it's half full, then that is half the cost of getting rid of that.
The problem is that when it gets weighed, if it's half full of asphalt shingles, it's one thing. If it's half full of wood shingles, it's another.
Right.
And we won't know that until it goes away.
Right, but you're never gonna solve every single draw.
No, but
What
I
you're
know what
looking
you're saying.
for
You
is
should
that
be able
over
to
6 months,
average
this
it.
is what the average has been per
Right.
container. This is how much of the container you've used, it's gonna cost you this much money.
Well,
And they have to collect, which is the next issue, I think, or another issue.
yep. A couple of people have expressed concerns, much like Matt did, that people start dumping stuff anywhere they can get away with it. It's already been done several times in town. It's being done right up by your house now. Okay, up behind the Ham Cemetery, there's building materials and old tanks. No idea
I
who
think
those belong
The
to.
guy that owns that property put that there.
That may be, and I asked Jack
But
about
it's
that.
not, it's not as if that is not a dumping spot of historical
Oh, no,
nature.
it has been, as we know.
Refrigerators and every
Right.
other deal.
And then has been one in the development, basically across from Dwight Pennell's. People were hauling stuff out in there and dumping it.
Yeah.
So we don't want to end up having a place like Archer's Pit where you haul dump truck after dump truck load of construction debris out of there.
Right.
But I would like to be able to come up with something so that at least by maybe late January, we can start to see if we've evened out or come up with some, if we're holding our own at least and not going any farther into the red. And I think doubling the fees and reinstating, but doing their best to verify where the stuff came from is a way to start. And that's obviously we're open for discussion here, but I am gonna go to the transfer station tomorrow, so I could, if we were to make a decision, I could bring that. Getting it out to the public is another story. I'm certainly willing myself to inform Mr. Ladd of any decisions we make. He and I have had a very tumultuous relationship over the years, but we enjoy fighting with each other, but I think he'd be happy with it. But I think doubling the fees and really buckling down and figuring out where the stuff comes from.
Let's think, what do we have here?
Yep, have a look. You got the budget right there.
Yeah. And we've got a pretty clear idea of rate of travel.
Right.
So, where are we, C&D? 9147. Okay, so 130, 682. So, okay, Matt Young, if you wanna dump your C&D or your commercial waste at the transfer station, you need to get a commercial sticker.
Have a seat, Mike.
For that, it's gonna cost you $5,000. And Mr. Smith is a contractor who works wherever he works, $5,000. You get a year sticker for $5,000. That's what it costs to get rid of your stuff.
And that way, when they come in, they don't get charged at all that day if they've already paid
You get all the money
$5,000.
up front.
But yet that doesn't prevent them from bringing a truckload,
No,
a trailer
you
load
can't-
every single day that the recycle center is open.
Right. Right.
Somebody's gonna get charged that amount of money, they're gonna,
Or say, okay, that gives you 50 loads. It's, what I'd say, $5,000 divided by 50 is $100 a load.
Which is actually less than what we'd be charging for some of the loads already.
Some of the loads.
Yes.
We should charge a lot more than that.
I see where you're going with that, but I don't see that working.
I don't even.
Well, no, because they need that unknown, that fudge factor. I've seen people come in there, drop and leave, not pay anything, so now the chase is on. Or you get some guy that's just on a roof, like our friend from last week.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to charge his customers a disposal fee. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, he
So
claims
if
that
you
he
bill the
does.
expense up front, then in order for his books to work, he's gonna have to charge a disposal fee. He needs to make the job pay for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it does push some of them into a dumpster situation, which is preferable if you're doing a house job and they're not 30 yards. They're 10 yards or 20 yards.
Excuse me?
You can get a 30-yard
I
container.
have used one more than once.
You can get one. You don't need to get,
We
that's not
filled it
the only
twice.
thing they have.
We filled it twice.
I'm sure you did.
That's
I'm
a
not
third.
saying, I'm not saying it's not a thing to do. I'm saying that if you're doing a roof,
Mhm.
you don't need a 30-yard container to do most of the houses in this town.
Most. However, we got caught with that too, with shingles, and we were overweight with a 30-yard
But
dumpster.
it's not that you're overweight, it's that you gotta pay the weight.
We were over what we anticipated, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
know.
driving it in a different direction where there's none of this, it's not my job. There's none of this, I mean, we don't have, unless one of us wants to sit there for our $5,000 a year paycheck and watch every load that goes through there, I don't think there's any way to control it. Even with scale, I don't think you'll get to control. That's just me speaking.
You have somebody up there in charge all the
Mhm.
time. We have a superintendent, and when he's not there, there's a number two. And when the superintendent and the number two are not there, there's a number three. That person is in charge. That person is responsible for making sure that the fees are collected. And it points everybody in the right direction. If they don't understand that, and from what I understand, they don't have signed job descriptions in their personnel
No,
files.
They have job descriptions. It isn't that they don't understand it, is they don't feel that they should be obligated to enforce rules. So you don't wanna pay the fee, Bob,
Mm-hmm.
then drive away. You know, they don't wanna get into that conversation. Or it looks, our estimate is this load should cost $500. And the guy says, I don't know, there's no way I'm paying 500. They don't want that conversation. They don't want to be put in a situation where they have that.
They don't want the confrontation.
Right. So they don't want to enforce anything. They just want to do whatever it is they do.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Fox News or whatever. So there's a number of layers that you're dealing with here, and I'm not sure that. I mean, it's a good idea to look at a scale, but I'm not certain that's going to solve the issue, because unless we can really calculate the rate and get that enforced. You know, who's keeping track of the weight tickets?
Whoever's in charge that
Right,
day.
right, but, you know, I'm not saying this happens, but guy comes in, I'm the guy in charge, the guy says, you know, give me a pass on this, I'm not making any money on this job, it's really driving me crazy. And I say, okay, and that weight ticket goes in the trash. No,
That's theft.
yeah, it is, but how
That's
are
a
you gonna,
fireable offense.
how are you gonna prove it, how are you gonna enforce it? I mean, we need to come up with a workable solution. I mean, the other option we have is not charge anything, which would solve the issue of becoming Archer's Pond. But,
It would, Archer's Pit in that case, but, oh, yes.
And we'll have everybody bringing stuff to town.
yeah, well, they do now, you know?
No,
I don't know what the answer is.
I'm gonna make a motion that we have the transfer station attendant double the current fees and reopen the C&D dumpsters. Make every attempt to verify that the C&D is coming from the town of Tuftonboro. Every reasonable attempt. And that's my motion.
All right, I'll second that for
More discussion?
more discussion. I don't think you've got a rate sheet that you can say that needs doubling.
Okay. It's
So-
on the website of the town, so,
Is it?
yes.
And it tells you how much?
I believe Cammie's going to get it right now.
All right.
And we see how it goes. We should know within a couple of months if we're how we're doing. Pretty close. If we're not, the thing I don't wanna do is go deeper in the hole. I'd rather, if we can hold our own, I
We
think we're
should
doing
know
all right.
within a month if it's working,
We should.
because we'll know what the tonnage out is, and we'll know what the revenue.
With any
in
luck,
is.
and if you can read the transfer station report that he gives us, which is,
Yeah.
no, that's my motion, and you seconded it. We'll wait for Cammie to see what she's gonna come up with. Mike, you're gonna be up here in about 6 minutes, if you don't mind.
Oh, beautiful.
Yep, we were running ahead, so we decided to do some other things.
Entertaining.
Well, oh, I'm sure it is, and I'm sure you're as concerned as everybody else.
Yeah, I could really give a shit to caving to 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 citizens yelling and screaming at me.
Oh,
I mean, one, I don't think they have the right to yell and scream at elected officials. I don't know where the hell that came from. And two, it's no skin off my back.
oh no, I
You
understand.
know, what we're trying to do is operate the town and operate it efficiently. And, you know, everybody can look at their tax bill and see what they're paying.
Right.
You know, we just can't.
Oh, we have a budget We can only
Right.
spend whatever town meeting is authorized,
Right.
and we gotta make it work.
Yeah, and if, I thought it was coming together last year, so when we put the budget together, we put the right number on C and D, and we
Right?
didn't.
No, didn't work out.
No.
Well, Cammy will be back shortly with a schedule. You could please read that aloud so that Bob and I can also.
Sure.
Talking about C and D.
I know. All right. Construction demolition debris. Shingle, sheetrock, plywood, particle board, all painted, stained, and treated wood. Generally not over 6 feet in length. See attendant. A 6-foot bed is $40, an 8-foot bed is $50, a trailer is $150 and up. So, was it a 30-yard container? Is that what those things are up there?
I believe they are.
Up there, yeah, those
Yeah,
are
those
30
are 30s. Yeah.
Okay. So, a 6-foot pickup truck, is that what they're talking about?
Right, 6-foot bed.
So 6 times 4 feet tall times 4 feet wide is 96 square feet or cubic feet.
Mhm.
It's 3.5 yards. So we're at,
So we'll call that, just round
Did
it
the
off
math.
to, just round it off to 3.
okay, 3 yards, so you're 10 pickup truckloads in a 30-yard container?
Call it that.
Okay, so you're collecting $400, and it's costing us $960 to get rid of
Right.
it.
So we need to at
And there's a
least,
big difference between a pickup truck full of wood and a pickup truck full of asphalt shingles.
that's where we run into the issue.
It's too much subjectivity. We're
We
collecting.
can't be subjective.
We're charging by the cubic foot, but we're paying by the pound to get rid of it.
Right.
There's something lost in the translation there.
It's like cordwood. You know, we're paying by the cubic foot, but
Well,
really the oak is more valuable.
So you have to assume the worst. You have to assume that the load is heavy
Right.
and charge accordingly. You have to
Well-
assume that every single load is asphalt shingles or bricks, if you're gonna do that.
Right, it's, I mean, we're at, we should in the middle of July, or the 1st of July, have a rate of travel on today's waste. Cause it's gonna be the same mix in the next 6 months that it's been in the last 6 months. Some days you get a lot of shingles, some days you get a lot of sheetrock, some days you get a lot of lumber.
2x4s, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but over the course of time, if you've shipped out 100 containers, it's gonna average out to whatever it is. So that 100 container average divided by 30 yards, that's what we need to charge. So, I'm not- you know, you're saying double, and the reason I went through this exercise is I think it's gotta be just a little more than double.
Okay.
And-
Well, not to mention the looseness on the trailer thing, that 150 or up,
Yeah,
depending on the trailer. Who decides the up?
well, that's the bigger,
Right.
bigger issue.
That's only one of the
They
problems.
come in with a big trailer and they charge you $150
Right, it's a bargain.
and they half fill your 30-yard thing.
Well, because they don't wanna sit there and do the math, which isn't that difficult for some of us, but, I mean, if you got a 20-foot trailer and it's 4 feet wide and it's stacked up 6 feet, then how many cubic yards do you have in that?
Right. But you fit 2 loads in there.
I bet they packed it tight.
Oh, yeah, you know they're packing it. That's why you gotta assume that it's heavy.
So up the rate, I'm fine with the
Mhm.
rate tripling, I don't have a problem with it, I just don't wanna run into a $25,000 loss, that's my thing.
All right, can we, let's,
Okay, so we wanna we have a motion on the floor.
that was seconded.
That was seconded.
Yes. What I'd like to do is at least close the discussion for the moment and get on with our business with Mr. Carlton because he's here on time and
Yep.
I don't wanna hold him up any longer than he has. We'll get back to this shortly. Mike, come on.
Good evening.
Now, per our discussion on the phone, you realize that we don't have any funding to purchase anything right at the moment. And it would have to go to town meeting. The question is, this letter, believe it or not, in English, will confuse a lot of people. I'm not, because I know exactly what it says. It says, we are currently in discussions with a contractor who wants to purchase the pit and will give you, the town, first refusal on the 15 plus or minus mentioned portion of land. This says that the contractor that you're in discussion with will give us that.
Well, it was meant to say that we would give you that. It was the way that it was, I wrote it, so.
Well,
So
okay.
your assumption is you can bring a deal to this,
But I have, the fortunate thing is my buyer is a patient person, so if we,
but you feel you can bring to your buyer a deal that says, okay, here it is, but this portion of it has a first refusal by the
Correct.
town.
correct.
And then you guys are gonna talk over price premised on you get, I mean, who do we pay
Exactly,
the
exactly.
money to? Do we pay it to you or do we pay it to the buyer?
To us, to my sister and myself.
All right. Then, when we talked again, although Jack said it would require a subdivision, and you say a boundary line adjustment, Jack says the difference in this case is just words. But we're gonna have to have a line, we're gonna have to have our assessor, look at this. We can't just blindly go, okay? So we're gonna have to have something that's very definitive. What property are we looking at, all right?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay with you, because we're gonna have to get that done.
I showed you guys on the map where.
Yeah, but
And some of that met up with the groundwater easement
Sure.
on the, south side of the,
Right.
south side.
But the issue comes is that paper subdivisions are just that. Anyone can do a paper subdivision, but when it comes time to actually purchase the property, you gotta have definitive lines.
Well, a part of that is we may wanna get the piece of property in the form of a conservation
Well,
purchase.
I was gonna get there, but,
I'm sorry.
yes, the Conservation Commission also has met with us about this.
Mhm.
And although they can't apply for any grant money this year now, they've done everything, and all the application times are done. The first of the year, they can start over again.
Cool.
And they may be able to help us with financing.
Great,
So if we went to town meeting, we have to disclose how we intend to pay for this. And that means the total, plus where each portion of a funding might come. And obviously, nothing can be done until.
I just
town
did a
meeting.
boundary line adjustment with a neighbor of mine, Wolfboro, actually last year, and we did it through White Mountain Horizons.
Yep.
And it was about $6,500
Mhm.
to do that. Now, this is a little bit bigger piece of property, but yet, we're doing one line. They gotta drive 2 pins,
Yes,
that's it.
right.
So, you own the property on the back, and you own the property on the landfill side, which I believe the landfill side's probably in the conservation like you spoke of.
Right.
And then Freddie's piece that you bought recently within the last 5 years is probably separate from this piece, is it not?
I believe so, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, the only thing,
So you've got
a
two
boundary
options.
line adjustment is if you've got a piece of property, I got a piece of property, and I decide I'm gonna buy part of yours, and you decide you're gonna sell it,
Right.
and it becomes part of mine.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that we're running into is that
Do you wanna keep it separate?
we have to keep it, probably we'll have to keep it separate if we go through conservation,
Gotcha.
because they need to have,
Well, in that case, it would be a subdivision,
right,
and Jack would be correct, so,
yeah.
That's why I asked.
in my experience.
So the first question that Guy asked you about how your deal is structured, I think he answered that.
Yes.
And so now we know on that end, and now we're gonna continue to meet with conservation.
They'll have to research grants, whatever it may be.
Right.
And if they weren't able to do it, then we would have to have our warrant article say that we'll do it all by taxes. Which is all right as far as writing a warrant article goes, but we still need to have a very clearly defined piece of property that our assessor can look at.
Absolutely, so it needs
So-
to be surveyed.
If you need 2 pins, whatever it may be, it's gotta be done. And this is hard to talk about on the phone when I'm at work. as
So
you're-
can we
and you too.
propose to get a proposal for that, and we split that fee, rather than us try to put the burden all on the town, we'll take and do a 50-50 split with the survey and I mean, it shouldn't be like, I mean, this is the town buying a piece of property, so I don't think the engineer's probably gonna have to present to the planning board and jump through a bunch of hoops of fire to try to get this thing approved. I mean, it's
Well,
pretty straightforward.
I'm sure it'll take a planning board meeting, but then it is pretty straightforward stuff. And
Bob's our planning board representative.
yeah.
He's being real quiet right at the moment.
I'm listening, I'm absorbing.
Okay.
Well, and
As far as the town, for example, we go, let's say we say, let's get it surveyed, we split it right now. And then we go to town meeting and they don't approve the purchase. Then what?
try again.
I don't think we can throw the taxpayers and money, can gamble with it like that.
I think we
Well,
could, I think we.
Now, Ed,
We can, I think we did, if I may.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think
Go ahead.
that we could cover the expenses if we purchase the property. If we don't end up purchasing the property, I think that the onus is on
I'll
you.
go along with that. Yeah, we'll pay it up
And-
front. We'll take care of it up front, get it done.
Mhm,
And then we'll get the proposal so that you can see that on paper.
mhm.
And then 50% of that would go on to tack onto the price. If you guys are, you know, if the town's agreeable with the number that we've thrown against the wall. per se.
Yeah, so we need to have the assessor establish it.
Yep.
Solid number that conservation can go out and search for money.
right.
And I don't have a problem writing a warrant article, and I don't think the board will, for us to purchase the property and telling the voters, we don't have the grant money in hand, but these are the grants we're looking forward to, which will come in afterwards.
We've done it with other things before, this is not new.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all contingent on, and if not, then we do it through taxation. But we needed to have a couple of things cleared up and wanted you to come in, and
Yeah.
we're doing great, so
Yeah,
that's
no,
what.
it's going good.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely, it's my job. I think you were at work too.
You know, and my intention is, and I mentioned this before, is because we moved that driveway back for the pit on Sergeant's Crossing, and I'm in hopes to get another 2-acre lot there on that corner. And we've got the other one there, so that would make that a little bit more valuable to take the burden off or whatever for the local contractor that wants to buy the piece of property. And that's, you know, it's a forward-thinking purchase for that individual, and it's, you know, I'm glad that somebody's come along and seen the value in the property, you know, it's.
So make it one trip to the planning board, just get all of your subdivision done.
Do the out front and the whole thing.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
One engineer, one surveyor,
Yeah,
that makes
then,
sense.
You good?
When you get your shit together, you can come to the planning board for a preliminary. It's a non-binding meeting.
Okay,
You can just come and say, this is what I wanna do, what are your recommendations? And the planning board will go through it and to say, you gotta do this, you don't have to do that,
beautiful.
and then you get serious.
And by that point in time, you'll be able to tell the planning board that it's gonna be conservation land.
Right.
Or it's not.
All right, that'll work out.
But definitely looking forward to, you know, the March, we get this lined up to vote on
Right.
it in March,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Is that the agreement?
Yeah.
Today?
Yes.
Cool.
Well, as soon as it's.
Well, we haven't voted
Well,
on it. I mean, I wanna know what we're gonna be, ultimately paying for this, which we still have to negotiate.
Well, the assessor looks at it, if he says this is worth $25,000, then we gotta do a lot more talking.
That's right, that's kind of what
Okay,
it
so
is.
that has to happen.
Yeah.
We can't make any promises until it does happen.
But in principle, I'm not opposed,
Oh, no, the principle's great.
I'm not opposed to it at all.
It really does work out, that it would help us add to that buffer around the Great Mountain.
Yeah, well, it's like anything else, that usually assessed values low, I mean, it depends if you're buying or selling, but it's, you know,
Right?
it's nice when you're paying taxes, but
Yeah,
when you're selling a piece of property, you know, it's,
I agree.
there's 200,000, you know, we did talk about the 200,000 yards of sand that's down there too, so
Right.
that's got a value to it.
But if we were to buy it as a conservation piece, we wouldn't be taking any sand out of it. So,
Saying that
it's,
value to
here
us.
we go again, right? We're going around in circles,
Yeah.
dog chasing his tail.
Well, the problem is, I mean, unless we can get that kind of money that we put in the letter, I mean, there's no sense of even
Right.
doing the surveying and all that, because I'm not gonna even spend another $4,000 per se to survey that off to only, to sell the piece of property for 25 per se, and then pay taxes on that, and
Then we're
what do you
right back
end
to-
up with? I mean,
back to
what am I
catch
even
22
doing
again.
here?
Mm-hmm.
We
My
can't
wife's
assess
got
it without.
pork loin and potatoes on
Is that in current
No.
use?
it. She's ready to go.
Is that piece in current use?
No,
Okay,
no.
because we do have the ability to waive that penalty
If it was,
if it
but it
was.
isn't. That's too bad too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, while I'm here, should we talk about a price or? should-
No, because we need
No.
to hear from our assessor, because when conservation goes out to get money from grant operations, they need to see a value established by a professional.
Well, what they need to look at is they need to look at the last assessed value before I came in a few months or 6 months ago for my abatement and got that reduced, because that guy, you know, the tax guy, he's a great guy, and this is the second time I've done it, but the price was, I mean, they doubled the price of that property, and they could say it was the pit, and or not, the front or the back, but the reality is just one piece of property,
Right.
so,
Right.
We got a lot of homework to do on both ends.
yeah. And it's an inactive pit, so it's permitted, but it's inactive, it's not like, I mean, we're not selling any material out of there, so.
But in order to offset the purchase price with grant money, we need to have a really firm price established by a professional assessor, which we have. I think we can work with our guy to make it happen.
Yeah.
But we need to make it worthwhile for.
Well, absolutely.
Right, it needs to be win-win.
Right.
Right.
All right.
We want to. Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys. Have a good night.
You
Right.
too.
All right, I think we can reopen the discussion portion of
All
our
right.
transfer station.
It's been seconded, I'd like to amend it.
All right,
I don't think doubling is gonna make it happen.
okay, what would you like your amendment to be?
I think we need to one and a half times.
So you wanna go,
Just
instead of $40, you wanna go 120, 120,
80, no, 100.
100, okay? All right, you'd like to amend that to 100, and instead of $50, you'd like to amend that to 125.
100 and
Half again is 25.
25. There you go. Thanks.
And then for the trailers, which
I've
was
got vitamins coming. I'm hoping that works.
150
I
plus.
don't- Okay, the 150 plus, I think we gotta nail that down a little bit.
It's 375 if you go with Chip's math.
Seems fine to me for now. We have to try something. So nothing says we can't revisit this if it's not working out.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna go to
I
375.
wish we could sit here with Chris's numbers being accurate, so we could actually do the divisible math.
So do I, but I think waiting isn't doing us any good at all. Isn't doing anyone any good. And my goal was to come up with something tonight that I can take to you tomorrow and try to, again, stop the bleeding and yet not restrict everybody to the point where it's so inconvenient.
So we get in trouble with the trailers,
Yes.
the big ones, that's the 375
Right.
number. How many yards is that?
You don't know.
We don't know, that's
No,
subjective.
We're in. We gotta do something, is all I know.
It's 20 feet long and 4 feet wide, other than that.
We need to have something, we gotta tack something to that 375 to say what you're getting for that.
Well, it's the privilege of dumping it, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so that's 18 yards.
You're not gonna put much more than 18 there, are you? A 10-wheel dump truck, full of gravel, is only 14 yards.
Yeah, but the 10-wheel dump truck isn't 20 feet long.
No, but it's taller, and it's cubic feet. When it comes to cubic yards, you can put 14 yards on a 10-wheeler, that's all there is to it.
All right, well, let's call it 14 yards.
All right.
I don't care, call it 12, doesn't matter.
Either way.
So if these are 30-yard dumpsters, you can, and you're saying that 375 is good for how many yards, did you say?
I'm not sure that you did.
I didn't, but let's call it 12,
Okay, so you're gonna fit 2 and change.
Right,
So you're at 6, 7, 850,
and change.
and change. So we're getting close to the $900.
Yeah, you're at 750. Well, I'm not saying 900 is the average.
No,
I just
but
looked at, I'm remembering that last sheet that he gave us where C&D container goes out. And I think it was one container. That was $980, but. No, I think 375, is that what you got?
Yes.
375 for what?
for a dump trailer, what we call a dump trailer. It can be any dump trailer.
Any, which come in many different sizes.
Well,
But
Bob, we can't fix every single occurrence. It's impossible.
So that'd be a starting. What are the small ones?
what,
The
8
small
foot,
dump trailers.
8 foot by 4 foot or whatever they are?
Well, that's a pickup truck. That's
Yeah,
the
that's a
same
pickup
thing.
bed,
It's like when
basically.
Max says he doesn't have a pickup truck, which I feel is an
That-
unreasonable place to be if you live in the country. But he doesn't have a pickup truck, he's got a trailer.
Yeah, and it's a little tow behind thing.
Yeah, he tows it with his Jeep, that's the same.
Yeah, he hauls his MSW in it, his household trash in it,
Yeah.
for example.
Mhm.
If he shows up with a bunch of brush, he can mount it as tall as he can get it, strap it down. But if he's gonna haul construction debris, which I don't think he will much, but it's not gonna be a big load.
How about if we use the word minimum, 375 minimum?
Well, then it becomes very subjective.
Yeah,
It already is.
Well, it's even more subjective. You're adding to the subjectivity, Bob, is what I'm trying to tell you. Does it, and do I make my point?
You do, but if somebody comes in with a larger dump trailer and we charge them 375, then we're back to where we started from.
Well, now we're getting into dump truck size, which is a whole new ballgame. And some people do have ton dump trucks and take them to the, but
yeah.
those are 4-yard carts, so
I mean, you could put a number out there that they can modify things with it, but it's $30 a yard. That's how it works. You know?
I like the idea of going with CHIPS amended prices. We need to have a vote on the amendment, I presume, and I would make the motion that we accept CHIPS amendment and the amended numbers.
I'll second
Can we establish,
for discussion.
for discussion,
Again,
can we establish a cubic foot price for, let's see, how do I word this? There's gonna be, and I'm gonna need help wording this, there's gonna be instances where that 375 is for a smaller trailer, but we end up getting larger. And the dump superintendent is gonna say, geez, I don't think that 375 is enough for that trailer, we need to compensate for that difference. Can we tack on a can this cover up to so many cubic yards or cubic feet?
no.
And then we add on after that?
I'll say no, because our boys are gonna have to be out there with a tape measure,
Yeah.
measuring everything. Plus, once you come up past the sides of the standard trailer and they start mounting it, it's virtually impossible to tell how many cubic yards are there.
Mm-hmm.
And they do mount them. They add plywood sides, it gets really carried away. And
I mean, I think we have to make it as simple as possible for our transfer station people, because
no,
they're not gonna be creative. But I think you need to, if you're mentioning this to Chris, we are as a board, I am at least, counting on $30 a yard for
Mhm.
C&D, that's what they need to pay. And so, a
All right.
trailer comes in that looks like it's got more than 12 yards on it, then charge more.
Right, which
Yeah.
is what I'm getting at. And then if you say $30 a yard for, and yes, it's subjective, but somebody's gotta be able to put a number on it and charge accordingly.
In a perfect world, that would be right, Bob.
Mhm.
I don't believe we're living in a perfect
No,
world.
absolutely not.
Okay.
And
Can
the
we
more
make it
subject-
rounder numbers for them to make it easier to
No.
or quicker to, no.
It's a square. I'm sorry.
The more subjected you make it,
The worst it gets is just,
the more it stays the same. It becomes totally unmanaged. That's my feeling. I've seconded. I think we need to vote on something here.
all
So
right.
we're voting on a wild ass guess.
Yes, as always. And first we're gonna vote on the amendment.
Please put that in the record, we're voting on a wild ass guess.
Yes.
Oh, we don't have to worry
It's on video.
So all in favor of Chip's amended prices, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Now, we need to vote that we are indeed opening the transfer station back up to the previous procedures for C&D.
Excuse me.
And I'll make that motion that we open the transfer station tomorrow for the previous procedures for C&D at the new rates. That's my motion.
And I'll second that again.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then one more time, I would like the authorization of the Board of Selectmen to present this information when I meet with the transfer station superintendent tomorrow.
Okay.
All right?
I'll
Make that a motion.
Okay, I'll second that for discussion.
And now we'll, yeah.
I just wanna have you make it clear to him that the next time I see those numbers, and I can see them in ex-Kathy's office if I have to,
Mhm.
I'll just do the math. And if we're not averaging $30 a yard, there's gonna have to be some splaining done.
Okay. Now, we gotta get this out to the public as well somehow. Social media is one way. God knows there's enough discussion about it. Is it permissible for me, for example, to put this on our 3 Tufton Borough specific social media forums that are out there? How do we get it to them? They won't know until they get there otherwise, but I guess for one trip, if they got there and then found out they could have brought their trailer, that would be all right, but
I wouldn't be
What's
opposed to you putting it out on social media if you turn off comments.
I don't know how to do that, is my problem.
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's my.
I'm going to temper my response to you because I won't use foul language if I can possibly do that. But we'll see about that. It probably won't go out on social media though. We can do it on our town website though.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
I know it's hard to do, but so
Just-
do you need to know the numbers or have you them written down?
I have 125 and 375. I just.
120.
Oh, okay. Oh, 125.
Yes.
Yeah.
Glad I said that.
Yes.
And he can put it on his flashing sign up there and tell everybody when they come in.
Yeah, and if the guy comes in with a third of a pickup truck load, just half a dozen 2x4s and a sheet of sheetrock.
There is
he's
there is
got a little
discretion.
Judgment.
Yeah, I've been there.
But I guess back to the social media thing, my only concern would be that you get engaged
That's the
And-
problems you run into.
and you wouldn't
I've
let
made every effort not to.
Yeah,
Yeah, but for the moment, we'll leave that alone.
yeah, because it's,
Even though it is a great way
it
to
should
get
be,
information
it should
out.
be an absolutely perfect way to get out there and put the word out, but.
I haven't done it personally, but I know that there's a way to turn off comments when you want to make a post.
Maybe my wife could do it. I don't know.
God bless your wife.
But well, I'll say that in a number of different situations. However, all right. So we've actually come up with a plan.
Well, I think it's still important that you meet with the scale guy. 'cause
Oh, I'm
I think
going
this
there.
is
No, we have to have that as well.
at best a Band-Aid.
No, we're gonna find out. I'm definitely gonna meet with them. But at least tonight, we're moving forward in some kind of way to try to bridge this situation and see if we can stop the bleeding. And again, I'm of the opinion that if we can do nothing more than break even for the rest of the year, we've accomplished something. If we can gain a little back, or all of it, who knows? Good. That's it for Selectmen's updates. We've been through everything.
That was fun.
Is there any other discussion we'd like to get into tonight?
So we're meeting at 4:30 on Monday next.
On Monday with the,
So we're not
for
doing
the,
anything on Friday. I thought there was a Friday involved somehow, maybe I was wrong.
oh, well, we could meet, well, we won't have the bids until.
It was that the bids were ending
Oh, the
Friday the 14th at
Yes.
3 o'clock.
Okay,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's the
But
end
that
of
doesn't
the-
involve
Doesn't involve.
Right.
us.
us doing anything.
Okay.
Right.
And hopefully, there won't be enough critical business that we have to have a long meeting. We can just open the bids and discover what we need and then send whatever off to USDA.
Yeah, I don't think,
Through Phil Bennett.
I mean, Phil's gonna have to take a look and make sure
Right.
that
You gotta let him know that we gotta do it at 4:30.
Yes.
comprehensive.
Okay, if there's nothing else that we'd like to discuss.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
one last thing. And I realize, it's summer and everything, but we really need to review our non-public minutes.
Oh, yes,
We haven't done that for over 6 months now.
right.
So maybe between now and the end of September, we can each review the non-publics.
Oh, sure.
And then we'll do something.
It would be really, I don't know how we control those, I could, whenever I sign checks, would be a great time to start looking at that stuff for me. But we can't just have them sitting out on the bench out here without anybody hanging on to them.
No.
We gotta do that.
You just
And
have to
for
request-
Bob's
request them from Ken.
information, we periodically review the non-publics. Some of those could be done away with, basically, there's no need to keep them non-public anymore. And some of them need to remain sealed as non-public. And we make judgment calls on them, and we usually try to agree.
Generally speaking, if it names an individual in an action,
Right.
it remains sealed. But a contract will be sealed until it's awarded. Once it's awarded, there's no reason to have any of that sealed.
Right. Hiring interviews, for example, when it becomes
Yeah.
known that the woman's sitting in the office, there's no point in saying,
When they're hired.
yeah,
But,
things like that.
yeah, anything that involves, anyway, kind of.
That's what we do.
But it just keeps it from becoming a file this thick, it should be. I mean, I forget the last time we did a release, probably close to half of them.
I don't recall doing that since I've been elected.
I don't believe you have.
No, I don't think I think the last time Marcus was
Yes.
still here.
So it's been quite a while.
Well, quite a while. How long have you been in with us, Robert?
Year and a half
A
now.
year and a half, so it's been a year and a half.
All right,
We're doing it pretty regularly.
if there's no other business, I'd have a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are you going to that